Today we are in Troy, Michigan, visiting the grave of one of the most controversial people that I have actually ever visited on my channel before. Dr. Jack Kevorkian was a pathologist who championed a patient's rights to end their own life by physician-assisted suicide. This would cause him legal battles and legal problems through the years, but today we're going to take a look at the life and the controversy surrounding the man that the media would call Dr. Death, Jack Kevorkian. Today's journey takes us to Troy, Michigan, to the Whitechapel Memorial Park Cemetery. This cemetery became operational in 1929 and holds the final remains of several notable people. Although we will visit more in a later video, today we are visiting the final resting place of controversial Dr. Jack Kevorkian. Born May 26, 1928 in Pontiac, Michigan to Armenian immigrants, Jack Kevorkian was a child prodigy. Not only was he promoted to junior high in the 6th grade, he taught himself multiple languages. He graduated from Pontiac Central High School with honors and graduated from the University of Michigan Medical School in 1952. During the course of his career, Kevorkian developed several controversial positions related to his views on death. This included a 1959 article in which he championed death row inmates the ability to end their own lives under anesthesia as a form of punishment. He felt so strongly about his ideas that he chose to leave his job at the University of Michigan to become an advocate for his views rather than silence himself. His plan would gain little support. He developed another idea in which he would transfuse blood from recently deceased patients into living patients. The plan was successful and he thought that the military would be interested. Ultimately, the Pentagon declined. In the 1980s, he began floating the idea of legal euthanasia and the ethics surrounding such ideas. In 1987, he began an advertising campaign in Detroit area newspapers and referred to himself as a physician consultant for death counseling. His first assisted suicide occurred in 1990 with him assisting in the death of a 54-year-old woman diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. This would not only be the beginning of legal troubles, but the beginning of his extremely controversial methods of assisted suicide. Between 1990 and 1998, Kevorkian assisted in the deaths of 130 people. According to his lawyer, although Kevorkian would assist, the patients themselves took the final action that led to their death. This defense would prove successful for years. Between 1994 and 1997, Kevorkian was tried 4 times for assisting in patient suicides. With the assistance of his lawyer, he was acquitted 3 times, and the 4th ended in a mistrial. Although extremely controversial, the trials helped Kevorkian gain notoriety and garnered public support for his cause. On November 22, 1998, on a broadcast of the television program 60 Minutes, Kevorkian allowed an airing of a videotape that he had made which depicted voluntary euthanasia of a patient in the final stages of ALS. After the patient provided his fully informed consent, Kevorkian himself administered the lethal dose. This was a significant development because all of his earlier patients administered the lethal dose themselves. During the broadcast, Kevorkian dared the authorities to prosecute and keep him from carrying out these actions. On November 25, 1998, Kevorkian was charged with second-degree murder. He was also charged for administering a controlled substance as his license to practice was suspended. On March 26, 1999, a jury began deliberating after Kevorkian chose to represent himself in court. The jury found Kevorkian guilty of second-degree homicide and he was sentenced to serve 10 to 25 years in prison. He was sent to Coldwater, Michigan to serve his sentence. He was routinely denied parole until 2007. He was reportedly terminally ill with hepatitis C after contracting the disease while doing blood transfusion experiments in the 1960s. Kevorkian was expected to die within a year in May 2006, and as such was paroled for good behavior on June 1st, 2007. He served more than 8 years of his sentence. Kevorkian lived for several more years after his release, and he gave a number of lectures. In 2008, he even unsuccessfully ran for a United States Congress seat. Jack Kevorkian passed away on June 3, 2011, after a battle with kidney problems and liver cancer. According to his attorney, no artificial attempts were made to keep him alive. You know, when I found out that Kevorkian was buried in Troy, Michigan, I definitely wanted to visit and tell a little bit of his story. I know that we did not get all of the story told because it's just hard to fit all of that into a smaller video, but I did stick with the facts and stick with the highlights, and this is definitely a controversial topic to this day, and as such, I'm not giving any opinions on it one way or the other. I'm just telling the story as it happened. So, Troy, Michigan, another beautiful place, beautiful cemetery here, and I do have more videos coming from this particular cemetery, as there are several famous and notable graves in here. So we're going to be taking a look at those in the coming weeks. So Troy, Michigan, this particular cemetery, I really enjoyed my visit here today as we visit the grave of Dr. Jack Kevorkian, and more cemetery visits from here on the way. I do want to thank you all for watching this video today. Definitely a different type of video, different type of visit from what I normally do, but my channel is 100% cemetery related. I will always be in a cemetery visiting a famous grave. I may be on a hillside somewhere, just 100% cemetery related. So please follow me on my social media. I'm going to have links in the description where you can find me. Also, please subscribe. If you've never subscribed to my channel, maybe this is the first video of mine that you are seeing. I am all cemeteries on my channel. Thank you all for watching, and again, from Troy, Michigan, I will see you again soon.